Not everybody's gonna like what you make, and that's completely fine with me. Once you realize you can't satisfy everybody, that's when you will be a lot happier in life.
Four times the charm. 4SITEStudios. See what I did there? That's where the
Yeah, I
video's
like
gonna
it.
start. That's where
Episode
it's gonna
4.
start.
That's
Episode 4.
very perfect. Perfect.
So this is Mitchell. Tell me what you got going on, Mitchell. What do you do?
All right, so I run a brand, 4SITE Studios, 4SITE. I have a message that it is change your future to be your vision. And the whole basis behind it is I want people to know that no matter what situation you're in, you can always change what's going to happen to you based off of how you react to where you're at currently. So I don't want, the whole thing is I don't want people to feel like, oh, I can only have this way out, or I'll never be able to do that because, like, why not? Just because you don't have the resources now or you don't know where to go, that doesn't mean you don't know or you can't learn and you can't change your situation and make your future what you want it to be.
Yeah, I think that's really important to think about it like that because I know we touched on it when we talked last night about it's kind of funny how Kevin Hart put it, but like life's a book. And it really is. Just like you said, it's basically like writing the words to your own book, and how everyone's book is very, very different.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's such a cool thing about life is everybody's story is different, and I feel like it's kind of upsetting to me how some people think their story is already written. You're the author of your own book. You know what I mean? Like you can change it to be whatever you want it to be. You just got to put in the time and the effort, and as long as you're consistent, anything can happen.
Maybe sometimes our parents are trying to write the words to our book. And do you want to touch on that just right now and how your parents were trying to facilitate what was going on?
For sure, yeah. So ever since I started middle school, I was like, man, this is not for me. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to work for 12 plus years to go to college and then go to college for another 4, maybe 6, and then work a job that I hate till I'm 65. That was not my passion. I had no interest in that, and I had no clue what I wanted to do. Ever since a young age, my parents were always like, "You're gonna go to school. You're gonna go to college. You're gonna get your master's, bro." They wanted me to go for 6 plus years for college to get my master's. There I was at 19, no clue what I wanted to do. I was already my sophomore year of college, and I was just lost. I had no path. I am not proud of it, but I did just like I dropped out without telling anybody. Only person that knew was my brother. And then I went all across the country. I moved to Gainesville for school, hated it, moved back, did school online, moved to Colorado, and then that's when I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I was just completely lost, and my parents were like, "Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna go to school. You're in school still, blah blah blah. You can do this and that." And I was just having none of it. I was just like, yeah, okay, okay, yeah, that's cool. But in reality, I had no idea what I wanted to do. That's when I was just sitting in my bed and I was like, man, I have no idea. I was completely lost. And I know I keep repeating it, but it's like that's exactly there's no other word to describe other than like lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It came up to me. This day I was supposed to graduate with my AA. My dad called me. He's like, "Yo, you do your graduation stuff?" And I was like, "I dropped out a year and a half ago." And then, yeah,
How
and
did
now here
how
we are.
did how did your parents feel about that? And not only your parents, but how did everybody else feel about that, like around you?
So my friends knew. They're like my friends and all, but they're also like do what you want type of thing, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to dictate my life.
Yeah.
My parents, I don't want to say they were mad. They were definitely disappointed and they felt betrayed, which I completely understand. But they reacted in a way. I was still living out in Colorado at the time, and they had moved to Alabama to be closer to my mom's side of the family.
Hmm.
So they were like, "All right, you're coming home. You're gonna regroup and figure out what you want to do." And they were still trying to get me to go back to school. I understand as a parent, you want that safety net for your kid, just to have some sort of success in life. But I feel like once we get rid of the stigma, that the only way is school.
I think that's an interesting way that you put it. That your parents like the safety net, and they want you to come back and regroup. And do you think that they see that as you're regrouping, in a sense, as you're regrouping, you're doing this brand, and what do they think about the brand?
They're really supportive of it.
Hmm.
They don't help much because it's mainly just a me thing, and they're not really in tune with the space, so they honestly have no idea what's going on with it.
Yeah.
But they do know about it, and they are supportive of it. My dad does help me with like the business side of things because he was in sales for a really long time, so he knows laws and
Cool.
and what I gotta get in, what and who I gotta get in contact with and stuff. So he helps me out the best ways he can, but they are both very supportive of it.
Do you think by your parents coming and telling you to come back and regroup, do you think you're starting to find an outlet and a direction on like where to go?
Yes, 1000%. At the time, I was very displeased with them
Hmm.
for making me come back just because it was like, oh, I'm a grown man, like I'm taking away my freedoms again and stuff like that. But I am very grateful for everything they've done for me, especially with me moving back. If I did not come back, I probably would have never rekindled the light of pushing a message and owning a brand. Because in middle school, I did start something small, but we'll talk about that later if we get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I am very grateful for everything that they've done for me.
Let's dive in more into the message of your brand and how you kind of came up with this message.
So Thanksgiving night, laying in my bed, and I was like, I have this idea, right? I've been talking with my parents for the past 2 months about, man, I want to make something. You know what I mean? I want
Hmm.
to make something. I want people to care about what I make, and I want to be known. I was like, man, what can I do? Tried the whole streaming thing. It worked out for a little bit, then my computer broke, blah blah blah. I've tried YouTube. I've tried a bunch of things, and I was just like, nothing is really like lighting this fire under me to where I'm 1000% motivated. I really want to do it. And it was just all about me finding an outlet. That's when I hit up Carlos and I was like, "Yo," I was asking him questions about his brand and stuff, and I was like, "I think I can truly do this." So I was in a place where I had no idea where I was going, but I saw my future, and it was about making my current situation to build up to where my future will be.
So your message is kind of showing people that I wrote the words to my own book, like I'm my own
Mhm.
author, and I see that, man, and I
Exactly.
think that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you find Carlos? Like, tell me how you guys met and whatnot.
So we lived in neighboring cities. Had a lot of mutual friends growing up. I knew who he was. I'm sure he knew who I was. We never really talked or anything, but we were always like kind of cool with each other.
Hmm.
First time I really got to meet him was we were in chemistry class together in college. We just sat next to each other because we were the only people we knew, and then we just became homies. And it's funny because I remember one day in class I was taking notes. He's like, "I'm gonna start my own brand," and I was like, "Hell yeah, bro, go for it!" And just to see where he is at today, from the point of where like I saw he had his idea and then he made it a reality is very cool.
And when I look back at this episode, when anybody looks back at this episode, we're gonna look back and it's gonna be a really good digital footprint for you. I think that we can
For
see
sure.
see how much you've grown. What are you at right now? Like 4,000 followers?
I'm on like 38 something, almost 39 on TikTok, and then I'm at 1700 something on Instagram.
Yeah.
All organic too. I paid for like one ad for like $50. It didn't really do much, so I don't think I'm gonna pay for any ads if I'm being honest. It's straight organic growth from TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Let's talk about that. You mentioned you used to be a streamer. So, what benefits came from streaming? Like, what did you learn?
When I was a streamer, I was like, all right, this was like right when TikTok became like really popping in like 2018, 2019 type thing.
Yeah.
And I was like the randomest videos would like come up on my For You page, and I was like, how does this video of like a dog spinning around in circles have 3.5 million likes? And then I was like, this is such like a good marketing thing. Like it's free and you can like use it to your advantage if you know how to work it.
Yeah.
So I just started posting. I saw what worked, what didn't work. I was looking at videos and trying to find a way to tap into the algorithm to boost my videos as much as possible.
Hmm.
And just over the years of doing that with of when I did stream, plus I would manage some people's like social media accounts not too long ago. I've learned algorithms for a lot of social medias, and it's really helped me to grow my brand as fast as it did, which I did not expect. I started this a month and a half ago, and my stuff blew like nuts.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, but it really helped me to find the right way to market to where I don't have to spend any money. And it's also something with networking, I can trade my tips and the value I have of knowledge wise of social media and stuff to make connections with other people.
So if you could give like five pretty general tips for, we'll just go for TikTok because that seems like the big thing right now. For TikTok,
hmm
what are five tips that you can give to somebody trying to use it as an advertisement platform?
I would say most important ones are post at the right times. You don't want to post at like 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody's asleep. You don't want to post at like noon whenever the majority of TikTok is kids. They're all going to be in school and stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You want to post at the right times. You don't want to oversaturate your hashtags. So you don't want to use like for you page, for you with a smiley face, FYP, and then like just a bunch of super general hashtags because it'll get lost.
Okay.
Um, find your niche. A lot of people have for you page niches. For example, mine's like really fashion and music. So I have a ton of fashion and music. You got to find the right hashtags that work with it. Interact with a lot of your comments. It not only will entice people to respond back to you, which gives you an extra comment that boosts the algorithm for your video, but it's also a chance to talk to people who be like, have a question about your brand or stuff, and it's a way to interact with your fans and people who support you. Trending audios, obviously, and most important of all is like you can do none of these things as long as you're consistent with it. It's just a matter of time until one of your videos gains some traction, and then it's just a domino effect from there.
Yeah, you're the definition of that. I mean, it only took you what a month, just like you said, a month and a half to get this whole brand started.
Yeah, it's happening really
It
fast.
is, and let's just jump right into the brand. I'm gonna pull up some designs that I really liked of yours. I really liked the Afro Samurai tee.
Yeah, I
It,
love that show.
yeah, do you want to just tell the backstory on that piece?
So, if I'm being honest, with my first drop, there was no very real backstory behind it.
Okay.
I honestly just made things I liked. I feel like people with similar interests to me would like this stuff too. I'm still trying to find my style, if you will. My
Yeah.
style of pieces to where if people see it, they'll be like, "Oh, that's Foresight." Like they know what it is, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It all happened so rapidly. I didn't realize what I was really doing until it happened, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
But with these next drops, I'm trying really hard to be more intimate with the designs and more conscious of what I'm making, to where it'll really be a staple if people are like, "Oh, I know exactly who that is," and it just makes them think of the message behind my whole thing.
So for the future of 4SITE Studios, how do you see yourself incorporating your message? Change your future to be your vision. How do you see yourself incorporating the message into your pieces of clothing?
I'm still trying to figure that out. That's a very good question. Um, it is a lot harder than it seems
Oh,
to
100%,
to
100%.
translate something you want a lot of people know onto a t-shirt. You know what I mean? As of now, for me to spread my message is just more people seeing my brand,
Hmm.
um, and then more people looking into it and realizing the backstory behind it. Until I find a way to get that message across through my pieces will probably just be generic until I really find my style because I am extremely new to this.
Oh,
I am
100%.
fresh out the womb with all of this stuff happening around me, and I look around sometimes. I got no clue what's going on, but I'm learning every day, and I'm open to learn every single day. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the future with my message and with my brand, and I'm very hoping I can change some people's perspective on life. That's the end goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. And I love that. I love that you have so much potential. I don't even think you're scratching the surface yet of what you can do because it's a great message and I see that you're very passionate about it and obviously your progress is quite insane and not common. This is not
Yeah,
common
I appreciate it.
to
Yeah,
build
for
this all
sure.
in 1.5 months. So speaking on that, one hit wonder brands is what I've kind of called them. The Instagram brands spawning out of nowhere, the
Mhm.
messageless pieces that they just have. Like, what is your opinion on all that?
I mean, it is kind of corny, like for people just to be like, "Oh, this guy's making money with it. I'm gonna make money with it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think when it becomes so oversaturated to where there's no passion or there's no real purpose behind it, that's when things start to die out. But that's also where the boys are separated from the men, if that makes sense. You start to realize who is in it just to do it and just to say they've done it, make a couple bucks, and then dip,
Hmm.
and you can really see who's very passionate about it and are trying to impact the world in a positive way through clothes and stuff like that.
When you separate the men from the boys in the sense that you said, I think what people see that is saturated and what like people like Carlos and you and anybody else that really has a brand with a message is a brand with a message is not oversaturated. Messageless brands are saturated
For
because
sure.
that's why people like you that have this message and people like Carlos with 777 close to heaven. Like
Mhm.
that's why I believe that all those types of brands are forming into something so much stronger than just a spawn.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really excited to meet more people like that because they are not as common as you would think.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen too many people. I know Carlos has his "Everybody's Heaven is Different," his little slogan. Gum Studios, really good friend. He's like building a collective and like a group of people to where it's like inspiration by design type of thing. I don't know what his like slogan is or if he has one. I don't want to speak on him, but he's a really cool guy, great designs, and I'm just really glad I get to meet so many cool people with such a common mindset and that are just looking to like spread positivity throughout the world. I think it's something very rare, especially since everybody's like a keyboard warrior nowadays and just talk shit online. And it's really
Yes.
nice to see a positive change in people, and I'm very excited for the future. So when I was in the eighth grade, I started this brand. This is where it all stems from. So I had this brand called, I think it was called Galaxy. It was like a skate company type thing.
Okay.
And my mom took me to Joann Fabrics. I worked for like 2 weeks straight to save up like I think it was like $50 or something. My mom took me to Joann Fabrics. I bought blank Gildan t-shirts and some like super trash peel and press graphic printer paper thing. And I had no clue what was happening with me. I was just like, man, I want to make something. Like ever since a young child, I had that I want to make something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just the
And I think,
entrepreneurship.
yeah, for sure. I think my logo was like the Palace logo, but it was like photoshopped to where it was like galaxy texture on it, and it was like I sold like four of them. I sold like four shirts to people in my school. Shout out those people. I don't even remember who it was, but ever since I was young, I was just like, man, I want to make something. And doing that, I enjoyed it, but it was also like I am 11 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I've rediscovered that passion of mine to where I'm actually old enough to understand what's going on around me, and hopefully in the future I can have an impact on people.
You're already impacting people, but the whole idea of having a strong message behind your brand is so it's not just a business, it's you're pushing something out more than just
The mindset,
yeah, man.
for sure. Use the business to spread the message.
So having a brand with a message comes with a lot of hardships. What are some of the challenges that you've faced with hatred and negativity that people have brought to your life? What have you faced?
Not everybody's gonna like what you make, and that's completely fine with me. Once you realize you can't satisfy everybody, that's when you will be a lot happier in life. And I live by that every single day.
Yeah, there's so many people on this earth, and to think that you could satisfy all 7 billion or however many, it's impossible. It's
Yeah,
not going
it's
to happen.
nuts. It is impossible. It'll never happen. You try to impact as many people as you can, but there's always going to be that group of people that are just like, no, you suck.
Hmm.
And then you got to move on with your day. They'll forget about you. You shouldn't be hung up on them.
Where can people find your clothes? Where, like, you got a website or what?
Yeah, I'll have an email set up on the website if it is not open. I'm looking to do my next drop in early February. So hopefully by this is up, you will be able to see all the pieces that I have ready. At 4SITEStudios, the number 4SITE Studios on Instagram, and on TikTok. I appreciate you for having me on. It's a really cool thing. I was always like, man, I always want to be on the podcast, and it's really cool to see what you're doing with smaller brands, giving them a place to speak on what they're really trying to do,
Of
and to
course.
show that they're not just another thing.
Another
You
spawn.
know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome, man. I love doing this, dude. It's such a great opportunity that I have.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was literally looking for something like this about a month and a half ago.
These pictures on my wall of you, I wanna go home, 'cause I can't see you now. Know you love your mess, love your girlfriends, fuck them both, they gon' leave you in the world